Fishing. So what I'm going to give you is the down and dirty baseline tips that will catch your fish. That's it. No fancy words, no terminology. I don't know those. No anything. I'm just going to talk you through the basics, and I encourage you to ask questions as you go, because it took me a long time to understand this river, and this is the most amazing place probably anywhere. I mean, you can go to your fancy South America, you know, Florida fishing out on the groves. You can do, you know, all kinds of stuff, and it's nice and warm, and the water is blue, and you can catch rooster fish, and you can, you know, whatever. The river is just as good, if not better. I promise you. So what you're seeing right now, I just want to talk you through this. What you're seeing right now is the lure bumping the bottom because we're about 8 feet. This is where we exactly where we caught last fish. There we go. Fish, 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 fish. Put your finger on this. Yep. Stop reeling. Keep him to the left. It's that good. It's just that good. Because it's never the same. It's never, like you don't have a pattern. On Berryessa, you have a pattern. Although that pattern disappears about every 2 weeks. So you have to find a new pattern. But that pattern stays for a little while. And you can keep getting fish on Lake Berryessa because it's a lake. On Napa River, you're not going to have a pattern. You're going to have your favorite things you do, favorite places you go, but you're still going to catch no fish. Unless you put the best out there. Frank, I mean, we talked for months. You were just like taking boat rides. Yep. And then you started catching fish, right? And the one time we met at Cunning's Wharf, you're like, oh, look at this fat boy. It was like 22. Yeah, anyway. So trolling. Let's start with trolling. Setup, I think, is important. I don't think it's like super key. You can do anything with everything. But if you want to really have a really good setup that's gonna maximize your chances, because Napa River doesn't give you a lot of chances. You blow one chance, you may not get another one. Like literally may not. And that's it. You're done. Or you can get 40 chances. Like it just depends. But the glass rod from either Phenix or Okuma now makes glass rods. They call it Guide Classic. Anyway, we have those. If you're interested, they're all $200 range. That's a $200 rod. And the beautiful thing, see how this works? See how this works? That's it. That's what it's all about right here. And that's because the backbone is just stiff enough for you to be able to work that fish while you're trolling, because I don't ever stop. When I troll, I don't stop for fish. We keep trolling because I'm trolling through a school, and I know I can get doubles or triples or quadruples depending how many people on my boat. Because Napa River, how many rods you can have?
One.
Thank you, Jim. One. But if you have 3 more people on your boat, right, you can have 4. And so I keep trolling, and so my clients work this stuff, you know, put it right there, while we're going 4.5 miles an hour. And this thing works really well. But the beauty of this is this. What depth, all right, let me take a little survey. What depth do you think is the ultimate depth to catch striper on Napa River?
Near the bottom, a couple feet from the bottom.
But no, depth, your depth.
8 feet.
5 to 12.
8 feet, Jim.
12, 10.
Who said?
12.
6 feet.
6, okay.
10 to 20.
5 to 20. I mean, I'm gonna go.
All right, he doesn't want to give up the intelligence. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, Mr. FBI. That's all good.
Come on,
We're coming for
we'll
you.
say like 10 feet. I'm gonna go 10 feet.
10 feet, okay.
10 feet.
12 is just
All right.
I wanted to go with.
12?
If they're active, they're gonna be right on the
Alright.
top.
How deep does this dive right here?
Like 15, 20 feet probably.
12 to 14. So this is called a
P-line.
wild thing. We call it a wild thing in Sweeney's. It's a very local name.
Big stripers
In reality,
from
it's a
shallows.
P-line predator, which is, you know, it dives. We just put treatment on the tail, put a little tail on it, put a little hook on the tail, it's the whole thing. But this dives 12 to 14 feet. You want to fish it in 8. Okay? When you fish it in 20, what happens? Nothing. It's just normal. It's a normal thing, right? It's
Snag a sturgeon or something.
You snag a sturgeon. Thank you. Snag a sturgeon. Right, 20 feet. Yeah, because this thing is wild. It's actually doing pretty good.
You thought he had
20,
a
you can
giant
catch
one on
fish.
YouTube?
Go.
Snag them.
Happens to me all the time.
You're not talking. Okay. At 8, it becomes a different beast. Okay, at 8, what happens at 8 feet? Any guesses? If it dives 12, what happens at 8?
Catch fish.
No, not necessarily, not yet.
Slows down.
It skips a little bit.
It doesn't skip. It hits, thank you, Frank. It hits the bottom like a crazy thing. It hits the bottom hard. And your rod tip goes, and this is why you need the rod tip like this. Because your rod tip goes, because it's already, right, you set up your troll, right? It's already loaded. And it goes like this. What is it? What is it? And you think you got a bite. You don't got a bite. It just hits the bottom. And it hits the bottom hard.
You dragging the bottom?
Oh, yeah. You're not dragging, really. So what happens is it hits and comes back up. And then in a little while it hits again. It comes back up. It hits again. So what it does, it releases a lot of silt and a lot of noise. And so you get a lot better coverage as far as who you can attract with this style than you would trolling at 20 feet when it's just swimming and rattling a little bit, okay? So that silt, that noise, that hit is very, 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 very attractive for a big fish. I get fish same size on this fish. I get stripers, 6 inches on this fish, but on this bait, lure. But a lot of times it's a bigger fish. It's the one that sits in ambush, out of the way, inside brush or in the mud bank, and then it's looking for something like this to happen, and then it's worth its time to go investigate and hit it hard. So 8 feet. My answer is, I don't know. Everybody's got their own answer. There's so many answers in Napa River, it's crazy. But 8 feet is where I fish it, 8 to 9 to 10 maybe, but no more. Once I start getting deeper, I go shallower. So I almost never catch anything mid-channel. It's always closer to the bank, and this is active sport. You gotta watch your sonar. You can't go to 4 feet, to 2, to 1, it gets hang your boat for 8 hours. You have to watch it. It changes all the time. But going in the sloughs, going 8, 6 feet. I go 6 feet with these, no problem. I go 4 feet with these. Napa slough, you know the Andrews and Napa slough? Okay, on the low tide, it gets really, really shallow. It gets like 3, and I'll still do it. I'll still run this, and I'll still kill it with these, okay?
How much line behind the boat?
So, good question. Excellent question. How much line behind the boat? I never put it less than 80. Sometimes I do 40 when I'm stupid, and I have to stagger. I have 4 rods out, and I have 80, 100, 120, then I do 40, just to keep it away from, because what happens when striper hits it? A good one, right? It's just gonna go mess up all your lines.
Are you using planer boards, or are you just...
No, so the thing is, you cannot in striper fishing, and here's why. Too fast.
Okay.
I'm going 4.5. So right now it's slower. Right now it's winter, so you do 3, as Cole said, 3, 3.5. Still too fast. You can probably do it. Problem is with planer boards in Napa River, Doug guys are gonna run over your line.
So
Anybody else gonna run over your line if you're in a tiny slough?
Are you finding them on your scope and then looking at your bait go down and getting it in that zone, or are you using a line counter?
Great question. So the question is, do you find it in your sonar? And the question is, the answer is it depends. So if I'm on an incoming tide, I'm fishing mostly the main channel and the mouth of the sloughs. I don't go into the sloughs, main channel mouth, because incoming, what happens?
Filling up the sluice.
The ocean water's coming in,
Yeah.
the bait is coming from the ocean, the bait, okay? So they're in the main and in the mouths. Then, you know, I'm sticking to the mouths of the sluice, and I'm sticking in the main channel, and I'm looking for them. I'm actually looking for them physically on a sonar, because I know spots where there are drop-offs, and they're stuck. They're stuck, like this, right there. And they're ready for that thing to, you know, your lures to be trolled, and they're just going to attack.